Hi, Kerry here again at the Henderson Beach Resort here for the week. I just wanted you to see what a beautiful facility this is, and I wanted to use this facility as a means to discuss how I buy stocks and how I invest in the stock market. And what I want to say is, what if you and I wanted to buy a hotel? What would be the first thing that we would do? The first thing that we should do before we buy a stock as well, and that is we'd ask to look at the books. We'd like to see, are you making a profit? How are you spending your money? Where does your biggest expenditures? Where's your biggest source of income? Does it come from the hotel rooms, or does it come from the condos that you lease on a regular basis? How does your business work, and is it profitable, and does it fit into the future? Well, that's the same way that we should be buying stocks. Choose to buy stocks in the fields of artificial intelligence and semiconductors. On the thumbnail, I've listed some of those that I am interested in, and tried to distribute them in a means of how do they work? What is each level dependent on? Well, each level in the semiconductor and the AI world is dependent on that first level. That's Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Apple, and Meta. Why is that? Because they possess the data. Well, what is artificial intelligence about? Making data available to you in a format that will make your life better. Okay, we understand that. So in order for this whole AI thing to work, we have to have Amazon, Google, Apple, Microsoft, and Meta. So we must have them in our portfolio. The next step down is that of the architects who design the semiconductors that are going to make it possible for that data to be distributed to us. So we need to own that level, and we need to sort through that level and determine what is the part that each one play. What is Qualcomm, and how does it relate to ON Semiconductor, and how does that relate to NVIDIA, and what is their role? And then what is the next step down from that? Well, that will be ASML, because now we have designed these semiconductors. We have to build them, and there's only one company in the world that builds the machines that build semiconductors, and that's in SAML. So we need that in our portfolio as well. And then we go the next step down. Who makes those semiconductors, these high-speed semiconductors? Well, that's going to be Taiwan Semiconductor, Samsung. Intel's getting into the business, and Skywater's getting into the business. So we need to determine where do they fit into our portfolio and at what level. Then we go to the next level. And these are the people who are making the servers that are going to go into the data centers that is going to use the semiconductors to get us the artificial intelligence from Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and Meta. Okay? So that's where they fit in. The other element they fit into, particularly Dell and HP, is as we get this artificial intelligence, we're going to need to upgrade our PCs. So that's in the equation too. So we need to figure that out. And again, look at it and say, what portion of my portfolio do I want allocated to each of these stocks? Well, how do we determine that? Again, we go back to the company and we look at their books. Which one has shown the growth potential over the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and why? And what is their growth potential in the future based on what we know? And so with that in mind, we can allocate the portfolio, probably not as much to Amazon, Google, and Microsoft as to some of these stocks that are going to change the world on a more drastic basis, such as one of the problems that these semiconductors are creating in the data centers that they go into is they generate 10 times the heat that they used to. So those data centers have to have new cooling systems. That means air conditioning. That means Modine. Then also they have to have a system within the rack in which they are housed that's cooled as well, and that heat is moved. That's Vertiv Holdings. And then there is the means of Supermicro is actually running water through the computers, so that water can carry heat away and taken on. These are the companies that are going to give me 1,000% return over the next 3 years because it's new technology. Okay, that's what we need to do when we buy stocks. My brother's down here with me, and he was quizzing me as to how I buy stocks, and I basically say I buy stocks the same way you would buy that hardware store in your community. entity that competes with Lowe's and Home Depot. What is the first thing? I asked him, what is the first thing you would do if you were going to want to invest in that hardware store? And he looked at me puzzled and said, well, I don't know. I said, you'd want to look at the books. You'd want to see how they're doing competing with Home Depot and Lowe's. You'd want to see if they've made profits in the past, and more importantly, if they're projecting to make profits in the future. Okay, once you've looked at the books, what's the next thing that you would do? And he said, I guess I'd want to talk to the owner. I said, I guess I would too. And that's why I show up on these 44 stocks at their earnings calls. Every quarter, I show up at the broadcast of their earnings call, so I get to know who the CEO is and who the CFO is, so that I can determine, are these people scam artists, or are they really building a business that I want to own a part of, that can reach my objectives for my portfolio? And what are those? Well, my portfolio is actually being built to get a minimum return of 33% per year and a hopeful return of 75% a year. You may say, what? How would you get 75? By finding the company that is going to change that silicone wafer so that it can absorb more heat. So that Jensen Huang of NVIDIA can create even a stronger semiconductor that uses more power. Then the next thing I need to look into, where the hell are they going to get this power? And that is going to be somewhere in the future. We will introduce a Bus 15 that is going to deal with nuclear energy. And how will I go about that? I will look at the companies. There's probably 5 of them right now to be considered. And I will look at their balance sheets. Are they making money? How long have they been in the business? Do they have free cash flow? How much cash do they have? And how long can they stay alive? You would not buy a business without looking at their books. That's what you need to do as an investor. Or you can come and be a part of my tribe, and you can benefit from my cheat sheet. I put it out every morning, and it says, here are the 40 stocks I've looked at. Here is the price they are selling now. Here is the price I project they're going to sell for in the next 2, 3, 4 years, based on the research I've done, and based on their momentum and their technical elements. Here is the buy-in price as a correction or a dip comes into place. Now, do I worry about interest rates and Jerome Powell and Janet Yellen? No. I'm investing in an industry that is coming at us like a freight train. And I'm determining which stocks are going to change my life the most, and thus, where do I want to invest? That's what I suggest you do. Do not be a generalist. Do not buy ETFs. You're dumbing down your portfolio. Invest in growth. Invest in the change in our world. And the change in our world is technology. It's around artificial intelligence, semiconductors. It's going to be about energy. If you will become a specialist, I'm saying do not be a general practitioner, be a neurosurgeon, and pick your area of neurosurgery, and then become the smartest guy in the room. If you go to Las Vegas and you walk into Caesar's Palace, you're going to recognize that in order to support this palace, there have to be more people walking out of that building losing money than making money. So there's only one place in that casino that you can make money. And that is if you walk past the one-armed bandits, you walk past the roulette table and the blackjack table, and you go to that back room and there's 9 guys sitting down playing poker. If you're the smartest guy, if you've done the research, if you've talked to the owners, if you've done your research and you know the basis of those cards and how they play over past history, you'll win. You need to recognize, if you sit at that table, there are going to be patsies. There are going to be those people who are there to be taken advantage of. If you're one of them, you'll know it very quickly. If you're not, get on the bus. We aren't the patsy. We're the smartest guy at the poker table because we do our research. And we talk to the owners, and we attend their annual or their quarterly meetings, and we look at their balance sheets, and we project what their future growth is going to be based upon the information that they share with us. I was a retired financial advisor back in the 90s and the early 2000s. We had none of this information available. It's available today, and the quality and the quantity of the information is changing rapidly because Dell is going to give me an AI machine. So I don't have to look these things up. I will subscribe to Copilot, and I will ask my Copilot every morning, go find me all the information I need on these 40 stocks to make an inquired position, put it in a verbal format, and then let's you and I take a walk and we'll discuss it. That's right. I'm going to talk to Samantha, my AI factory, every morning, and all night she's going to do research up until the moment I open my computer in the morning and give me factual information so I can make informed decisions on those stocks that I choose to own. I'm Kerry Grinkmeyer. I'm having a wonderful time this week at the Henderson Beach Resort. If you're ever down in this area, take a look at it. The facilities are magnificent. The beach is just right over that brown roof, and the pools are beyond belief. In fact, if you're just beyond there, they have the magic river in which you and your kids can get in and float around, or your grandkids. I'll talk to you more about this tomorrow.